Hello scholars, welcome back to another semester at the Orilium Academy. I'm so glad that you're back or that you're joining. Welcome if you're new. We have quite a busy semester ahead of us and I'm very excited to share everything with you today. As always, if you are new, I do have a step-by-step guide if you want to learn a little bit more about the background of this and how you can join. There's no place that you need to sign up. You simply make a character and you join us. If you want even an easier way and you don't want to go and watch another video, totally understandable. All you need to do is pick a type of person you want to play from this booklet. It is linked in the G drive. Then go through the choices of which guild you want to be sorted in. Make sure that you answer the little quiz with the mindset of your character, not necessarily yourself, unless you are playing yourself. And then lastly, pick a calling that you want to do, like a career path you want to do from this booklet called The Callings. This section here, it will tell you what sort of classes you need to pass that career. I hope you do join us and I hope you have a lot of fun with this. Let's move along and let's talk about the exciting things that we have this semester. Well, I say exciting. This may be a bit presumptuous of me, but things. We have things. Me and Logan worked on a lot of gaps that we ourselves had in our history and I'm very excited to fill that in. We have a couple new pages for the lore side of things. We have a new map. I know our fantasy readers are also quite partial to a good map. We have some new careers and really merch, I guess. I don't know if you can call it that, but I will show you later on. Last thing before I move on to our section part of the video, I want to say a massive thank you to my Patreons who really carry me through the months leading up to the readathon and hear out all of my silly little ideas. And when I share things with them, they give me that needed excitement to get me through all of the prep that I need to do. And special shout outs to Andra, who is also a Mooney, who has very kindly proofread a couple of things for me, as well as, of course, my partner Logan, who has also proofread a lot of things, helped me. We kind of joined the Magical Readathon together. It's grown into a collaborative project with him. There's a lot of creative input coming in from his side of things, and of course, he draws us stuff, which is very exciting and helpful. We are not starting early this month because we didn't beat our books read amount last time, which is completely fine and keeps us a little bit on our toes. So we're starting on the 1st of April and we're finishing at the very end of April. So we have a whole solid month for our adventures and studies. And a new goal to beat, which is our last spring semester stats, 21,735 books, or 6,987,667 pages. That's very hard for me somehow to imagine. These numbers are so impressive every single year, regardless whether we top the previous semester or not. So I'm excited to see what this semester leads us to, and every time I'm blown away. Okay, let's start with new careers. We have two of them and they are in our updated Callings booklet, which is linked in the G drive. Links are going to be there right after the premiere if you're watching the premiere. So not only do we have two new careers added at the very end, we also have a handy index page now where just all the careers are listed. At the very end, we also have a section for the supplementary courses if you wanted to add a little something. So this was added last year, so they are not new. We do have two new careers that are joining our list of possibilities. As a reminder, it is totally up to you whether you continue with your career and level up in the levels there. When you finish the first year, you gain the label of a novice. When you finish the second full year, you get the title apprentice. At the end of third year, you get the level adept, and on of the fourth year completion, you get the beautiful title of a master. First of all, we have Eldia Excavationist. So this is geared towards our paleontology fans. If you want to go around digging up the history of Eldia and finding what sort of creatures used to roam the land and maybe work closely with some necromancy experts and recreate things and want a healthy mix between the field work and lab work, this could be a career for you. It requires 4 classes in this semester and then 5 classes in autumn, so it's not too complicated, but of course it depends. You can of course read up on this career yourself later on. If you are patient, detail-oriented, analytical, and curious, this could be one for you. And then the second one that is added is for our creative people who are specifically wanting to work more so with textile, thread mage. And not just because I like crocheting, but I personally am very excited about this one because the idea of weaving spellwork into threads and trying to find new combinations of what it can do for your work, such as embroidery or, you know, tailoring, crocheting, knitting, anything that you can think of that involves threads. And honestly, your imagination here is the only limit. I mean, this is a subcategory somewhat of crafts mage that is a career we already have. However, crafts mage, whilst it covers thread magic, it doesn't go into such a detail that this one would be. Obviously, this is more of a specialization in that, plus it takes away all of the other bits, so metalworking or any type of masonry, pottery, anything that doesn't have to do with thread, it takes away. So this is the first career that if you really wanted to swap to a different career at this point and you were studying for crafts mage, I would allow continuing leveling up and getting your adept title if you chose to just go and specialize in thread magic instead, if that makes sense. So you don't have to restart it, but only if you were studying for crafts mage. Also, you can totally disregard this tidbit if you want to, just to not complicate things. I hope that makes sense. And for this you would need 5 classes for spring equinox and 6 for the autumn equinox. I hope these options are exciting to some of you, and I would be very interested to hear if you are planning on swapping from your current to this one. Please let me know, or if you're sticking with what you have. I actually still need to sit down and think about what Avanthia would do. She is currently a Rift architect and has been from the very big... Wait, I swapped last year, didn't I? Wow. I really need to... I always do this. I do all of the prep and only then afterwards I will think about my own character. I never think ahead. I'm also delighted to say that I have finally updated the badges that were missing from the DG drive for, you know, the badges that people want to collect for the received levels. But please, someone let me know if you notice anything else missing and I can whip those up and hopefully not wait a year to do that. Moving on to arguably the main point of the video, and that is our reading prompts for the spring equinox 2024. If you have been collecting guild points, make sure to check if you get any perks this semester, because of course you want to use those if you do have them. So these are our prompts, and as always we have a little greeting from our elders. Welcome back, scholars. It is our pleasure and privilege to host you here at the prestigious Orilium Academy. Detailed below is our spring equinox syllabus. Please make yourself familiar with it so it does not find you unprepared once the semester starts. There are many topics of interest and we hope you will find a field that fulfills you. We wish you all the luck and wit. Let's walk through them. For alchemy, this time we are studying transmutation circles, and the prompt is circle on the cover. That can be simply the shape or an object like a sun. Pretty straightforward, that one. Then we have animal studies. We're going to the pond and we are looking at pebble ducks. They are tiny earth elementals and they are shaped like ducks. Pretty much. The reading prompt for that is a yellow title. I've noticed, especially since I've been doing my crochet cover project, there's a lot of titles that are yellow, so I'm hoping this is not going to be too tricky, but still challenging somewhat. For Art of Illusion, we are studying shadow play, and the prompt is word game or play in the title. A good way to check this is going on any type of page that's like Goodreads or Storygraph and simply putting in the word play or game. Your books owned as well to check if you already maybe have some books that have that word. It's a little bit faster than doing it manually, but unless you are someone like me who has not kept up their Goodreads accurate, in which case, good luck to us. For astronomy, we are studying further constellations. We're at level 3. The prompt is zodiac recommendations. Now, I personally wanted to do this video a long time ago, but I just simply have not. But I know there's a lot of blog posts and of course YouTube videos where people recommend you books based on your zodiac sign, which I thought could be quite fun. Find a list, doesn't have to be the first list, but find a list where you have zodiac recommendations and find your zodiac. For example, I am a Gemini. which I think is very misunderstood. And I would go and find what recommendations the Gemini section has and then see if any of them pique my interest. It's up to you. You can make a rule that you want to stick with the first list you check for a little bit more of a force of hand twist on this challenge, or you can go until you find something that you actually are very interested in reading. It's up to you. For conjuration, we are studying blinding prisms. We have the return of the color wheel. Some of the prompts are so beloved that I keep putting them in because people still enjoy doing them and it's a little bit of fun. For this, you want to find a color wheel online and then spin it, and once it lands on a certain color, you want to find cover that is predominantly that color. So if you spin pink, you want to go and find a cover that's primarily pink, like this. We're delving into pacts and contracts for our demonology class this year. And for this, the prompt is book you did not pay for. This could be a gift, this could be a book from a library, this could be a book you borrow from a friend or family, anything that you just physically did not spend any of your own money on. For elemental studies, we are calling lightning, which is quite exciting. And for that, we have source of light on the cover. For spells and incantations, we have quick maths. We're learning the spell of quick count. And for this we have a random number generator prompt, but this time for a title length. So I would recommend setting a limit, so between, you know, I don't know, 5 and 30, maybe less. I don't know, do some quick maths on that one. And then generating the number. So for example, if you get 14, then you're looking for a title in your library or in a library that has a total of 14 letters in the title. I thought this would be quite fun and a little bit different. For Artificery, our course name is Lock and Key. A lock or a key on the cover, or the word lock or key in the title. We're having a practical typography course for our inscription. And for this, we want to write up 3 titles of the books on 3 separate slips, scrungle them, fold them, mix them up, and pull one. So a bit of a random chance, but of course you decide what type of titles go in there, so relatively safe one as well. For our lore class, you may notice something a little bit different. This class has been interrupted, so we don't actually know what we were studying. We don't know what our coursework was. If you do need this class for your studies, you have a page to read. So this one's quite a quick one. And you have to reread the Legend of Dia, which is a legend we have already studied, but you didn't have it. Now you do, but more on this later. Psionics and Divination, we are leveling up our Clear Sentience, and this is a prediction bingo. It was a prompt that received quite a lot of positive feedback in my Read D20 TB roll game. I'll link those down below if you missed them as well, because I think they're quite a lot of fun. This prompt allows you to basically pick whatever you want. The prompt is to do more so with what you do with the book, not what the book needs to be. But what you do with the book is make yourself a grid. That's up to you. You can do 4x4, you can do 5x5. Depends on how many predictions you want to make. And then fill that grid with predictions of what you think is going to happen in this book. And then as you read, you can tick them off or you can leave them empty depending on whether your predictions were correct or not. You know, so things like, and it's up to you whether it's spoilery or not, depends on if you want to share these later or not. But it can be something like, you know, main character has brown hair, or main character is wearing glasses, or plot things like the love interest dies, or we are set to assassinate a king. Obviously try to not add anything that is already mentioned in this synopsis, because that's a little bit cheeky, that is. It's up to you whether you want to keep it not spoilery or spoilery, but if you do include spoilers, please do not share these bingos completed online, just in case someone does get them spoiled for this. And this is not part of the request or the prompt, but my suggestion would be to set yourself a reward if you do get a bingo. But you know, reward can of course be something like buy yourself a new book or anything else you've been wanting to get, or doing something, or taking yourself out for a little date, or some little treat, something. Chocolate, I don't know, up to you. But I'm very excited to see these bingo cards if you do decide to do them. Restoration, we're learning different ways of how to regain consciousness or make someone regain consciousness. And the prompt for this is book you think could cure a slump. Obviously, you have not read this book, but sometimes, you know, you read a synopsis and you think like, oh, this sounds like a really good, intriguing book, and I think it has the possibility to be one that I would then later on recommend to someone who is slumping. that kind of thing. Very vague. You can probably twist this and cheat quite a bit, but we'll allow. And lastly, for shapeshifting, we are studying mimics. And the prompt is to read from an author who has blurbed your last 5-star read, meaning you go to your list, you check what was your last 5-star read, check the cover, see if there's any blurbs. If there's not, go back to the next one that was your 5-star read, check the cover, see if there's any blurbs, or maybe there's blurbs online somewhere. Then pick one of those authors that has blurbed the book, saying that it's fantastic and phenomenal, unlike anything they have read before, and try one of their books. Thought it could be fun. And now, my scholars, conclude our prompts. I hope that you enjoy some of them, if not all, and that you'll have a lot of fun setting your TBR for April. As a general rule, anything that you can find and log on Goodreads counts as a book. So they don't have to be necessarily full-length novels. It can be novellas, sometimes short stories, comics, mangas, graphic novels, anything that you can find on Goodreads as an entity counts as a read, counts as a book. All right, book clubs. I thought that it could possibly be fun, or it could possibly backfire majorly, but hopefully it will be fun. Book clubs for guilds. I always have plans to make guilds a bit more relevant to whatever we're doing, but we also have a lot going on, so I don't want to make it too complicated or more complicated than I'm already making it. But I thought instead of the buddy finder that we have used before, what if we have guild book clubs? The idea is that people from the same guild, and this will be happening on Discord, so if you have not joined our Discord, please do so with the link down below. I know Discord is not for everyone, but genuinely there's no such platform that is for everyone. Wherever I host anything, some people will not like it, so it's just the best that we can do currently. At the moment on Discord, you can sort yourself in a guild for your character, and then once you're sorted, it opens up your guild chat, which is a chat room that only people from your guild can go and read and type in. Similarly, I will be setting up another chamber for people in a specific guild. So let's say you're in the Order of the Crescent, so it will be a book club chat where only people from Order of the Crescent can discuss it. The details will be, you know, obviously written there in a pinned comment, but the general idea is to discuss the book as you read, and any type of spoiler that you're mentioning, you'd be like, spoiler for chapter blah blah blah, and then there's a spoiler tag you can put on Discord, and then people decide to whether click it to reveal it or not. Basically, I think there's the same feature in like Goodreads or whatnot. I will make a pinned comment on how to do it, and I'm just going to rely on people to be careful and not spoil it for others. Of course, this really depends on your collaboration. The chat will be open to discuss the book in a generic manner, as well as mentioning spoilers as long as they are blocked out. I implore you to check your guild if you have forgotten which guild you are in, and then in the description down below there will be a link for each guild to click on a form to submit a nomination for a book club. I want everyone who is wanting to participate in this to nominate a single book. The form is very, very simple. It only asks you for the book and the author, and then you submit it, and then I'm going to select 4 books at random using the random generators, and then set up a second form where your guild chooses between those 4 books and votes. The book that gets the most votes then is the book club book. The closing date for the submissions is the 22nd of March, just because we also need to do the second round of voting, and I don't want to leave it too late, so people can make sure they slide that book somewhere on their TBR. I'm personally very excited about the idea, and I'm hoping it's gonna work out, and I hope that you guys will have fun reading a book with someone else, because I feel like the buddy finder worked well, but it's also higher effort on your part, and now I'm kind of trying to take the effort on myself, so then you can just enjoy it and not have to think and not have to, you know, bigger groups are also easier, so you don't have as much pressure in participating in it, but it still has that community feeling. I have these chats on my Patreon, and they worked out pretty well. Obviously, it is a smaller group, so again, I will just be relying on you guys being careful and respectful in those chats, but I'm sure it'll be fine. And of course, it goes without saying that the book clubs are not mandatory. It is entirely up to you whether you want to participate in this, and hopefully the book club book will fit in one of the prompts that you need. Moving on to another thing that is not mandatory, but hopefully fun, side quests. So last time during the spring equinox, we had our alchemy side quest that consisted of choose your own adventure on Google Drive with a lot of folders that open up on a certain day, and then you can explore within there, and there's pages you can read and they tell you what to do and what the story is, and you follow a little story. It's going to be working very similarly this time as well, but instead of the alchemy we have, you remember that lore lesson that got interrupted? Well, that is the side quest beginning point. I will say that I have made quite a big change in the side quest prompts, that a lot of them are not reading based, so it can be something to do or something to post or something to watch, just to make it a little bit more accessible. I think that we have a lot to do with our careers as it is. There will still be some reading prompts. There'll be a much smaller percentage compared to the other ones, just in case other people also want to join in and they don't really want to read as much as the previous quests were kind of requiring you to. Even though, of course, the side quests have a longer expiration date, I guess, or the time period. Same as last time, this one you have until the beginning of August to complete, but it might not take you that long because a lot of them are not reading based. So let me paint you a little picture of what happens in your lore classroom. Also, it doesn't matter if you take lore or not, like, everyone can participate. You make your way to the lore classroom. Behind the heavy oak doors is a cozy looking classroom, walls adorned with ancient scrolls containing various sightings of mythical beings and other snippets of history. You're not actually sure what the topic this semester is. You can't remember what was listed in the syllabus. A bit odd. Guess you'll find out soon enough. You drop your bag at the nearest seat and wave hello to some friends. With a heavy thump, your textbook sends a cloud of dust flying off the desk. A few moments later, you hear a professor enter, but notice that the door makes an unmistakable click, as if it was locked behind them. Kind of weird. Maybe they've always locked the door and you just didn't notice? The professor's forehead glistens with droplets of sweat, and they seem to be quite out of breath. They hurriedly grab something from a desk drawer and start rolling their sleeves up. Listen, their voice seems heavier and urgent. I don't have nearly enough time and I absolutely did not plan on doing this today, but they seem really exasperated and concerned. The sharp end of their crystal conduit presses into their palm of their hand and draws blood as they say, "You've been lied to. Everyone has been lied." Your professor is interrupted as 5 things happen in quick succession. First, a massive force shatters the door and sends it rattling off its hinges. You flinch and duck to avoid any stray splinters hitting you. Second, a group of 5 or 6 mage hunters in uniforms you do not recognize barge in shouting spells, making an impressive push towards the professor. Third, the blood droplets fall from the professor's palm, glittering. They collide with the parchment underneath, and in a second's notice start to turn the entire desk into something dark and smoldering. The professor grasps at their neck, choking on words clearly forcefully silenced. Then the hunter sees the professor. One of them is attempting to stop the magically contained embers burning the entire desk. But it's too late. In the blink of an eye, it's almost entirely transmuted to ash. One of the hunters has an aura of leadership about them, and they start apologizing politely, explaining that the professor has been participating in a story weaver spell experiment and seems to have suffered some unfortunate lingering effect. They need urgent care. Please don't be alarmed. The professor's head bobs gently as they are carried away, now unconscious and looking almost peaceful. Now for the 5th thing. During the utter chaos, just as the last crystal-cut droplet fell, everyone's lore books opened to a specific page. The Legend of Dia. A few of your peers have stood up and left, excitedly discussing what has just unfolded, but most have also noticed their workbooks. You already covered this legend last year, and whilst interesting, it has not left a massive impression on you, especially when compared to some more wild myths. You are just about to close the book when a shimmering, similar to what you saw before the professor's desk, petrified and immolated. You turn the page to catch more light and spot something, a faintly shimmering text. And this is where you'll have a couple of options of what to do next and how to read this text, and this is where your quest will begin if you choose to embark on it. So basically, it sounds like we may be uncovering some sort of conspiracy, whether valid or a madman's imagination. Who's to say? But this brings us to Legend of Dia. Let me show you the one that has color because my printer does not. The Legend of Dia was our prompt, I want to say last April. It could have been in August. I can't quite remember, but we have had it before. We just didn't really go into it. So we are revisiting it. And again, if you have a lore prompt, this is all you need to read. It's just this page. We have this beautiful depiction of someone's interpretation of the goddess of Dia, which has been drawn by Logan. So again, thanks to Logan. And I should mention he also does commissions. If you do want to commission your character as well, you can contact him on Instagram, a link down below. But this is the Legend of Dia. I'm not gonna do the dramatic reading for you just now, just because I feel like you might get bored because I just did a reading of the other thing, but I will leave it up to you to read this if you so wish to, or if you have lore and need to. I hope you will enjoy it, and make sure to keep an open eye for any type of hints of things. But yes, as I said, the setup is going to be very similar to the previous alchemy one, and it can be found on our G Drive and the side quest folder, and then just pick lore instead of alchemy, and this is where you begin. It will be a timed release, so the folders will have the date of the next release of it basically there. Which brings me to another addition that we have, which is the map. Again, I'm gonna pop it on the screen because color. And again, done by Logan, so thank you, Logan. We have sat down and discussed what we think general kind of simplified, very much simplified map of Orilium would look like. So of course we have the map of Eldia already, and now we have a map of Orilium. Again, this is very simplified, so for every building just imagine 100 instead, but just get a rough idea of where we are. So this will become relevant more so inside the quest, and I won't say why just yet, but I can walk you through a couple of areas just in case you are interested. So the very bottom here you have the Amalur Gate, then you can see the Amalurite statue, which is very impressive, and the first thing you see is that a power play, I don't know, it could be. We have the Orilium Academy, which of course you know all about. On one side of it we have the Moon District with the 3 moon towers, one for each moon of Eldia, as well as the Wild Moon Inn, which some of you may be familiar with. On the other side we have the Artificers Square, which is industrial side of the city with a lot of production specialists, of course a lot of the artificery folk and craft people. Whilst the Amalur Gate has the portal, we do also have a more physical gate, which is this tunnel right here, which I think is pretty cool because sometimes people, especially with certain injuries, cannot travel via portals because it's a bit more risky, and it's no coincidence that it is located next to the Healer's District. I hope you will recognize this little bit here, which is the Old Favor Pass or Old Town, which is our shopping district, but as well as an Old Town, as I just mentioned. You can see some greenhouses of the Orilium Academy, as well as a mine palace next to it. And then next we have the Crescent Grove and the Crescent Park. At the opposite side of the Amalur Gate, we have the Temple Archive. There are a lot of temples and details that are pertaining to certain gods that the archivist will be quite familiar with. And if you pay attention to the building here, it is the Upside Down Temple that also is home to our demonology classroom that we have visited last year. The biggest residential area, called Residential Terrace, the locals do not really go by that, they call it the Shelves. Next to it as well is the Entertainment District, which is called the Thoroughfare. We have an impressive theater and some other bits as well. And I think the last bit with a borough type of name is the Evocation Sector. People are allowed to go there, but a lot of the places are restricted because there's a lot of experimental magic happening here. A bit there just under the cloud, where you really don't want to go unless you want to risk your health, because there's a lot of experimental spell work just happening out in the open. And then we also have the Veiled Tower, which mainly focuses on the rift research as well. I think I've mentioned most of the areas, and I hope that it's fun to kind of see. I know some people are really into maps and some people don't really care too much about them, but for those who like to have a map, now you do. And as I said, this will be a little bit more relevant and we will use it during a portion of our side quest. Okay, we are almost done. Oh my god, I've been filming for an hour. I'm sure I'll cut this down, but I've been filming for an hour. The merge that I mentioned, I don't know if to call it that. I'm not doing a restock of the bookmarks. I'm hoping to do that before the next semester, hopefully, fingers crossed, but I can't promise anything. However, we do have a silly goofy if you so wish to. This idea came to me very randomly and then both me and Logan really hyperfixated on it and we would have done it regardless of this thing. I think we just wanted it. I'm gonna be honest, we just wanted it for ourselves as well. But this is somewhat of a parody. And of course we have our unofficial readathon mascot, Slippy, our frog of the bog, Slippy. And so we wanted to enter our Slippy era. And this is the beauty that is the result of it. I've already shared this with Patreons and we love to play the tag yourself and which Slippy you are today. So let me know which Slippy you are feeling like today. I'm hoping it's not the crisis one. But if it is, then I'm sending you love. I have added it to the print of demand type of stores that we have on Redbubble. Redbubble makes it their mission to make navigating the shop page incredibly frustrating. So the best way to find this, I think, is to go onto the page, which is the Moonlight Library. Then you go onto the designs and click on the design that you want something from, and then you can check what that design has. I also set up Bonfire last year, and I don't think I mentioned it, so it was a little bit more of a stealth setup. But Bonfire is just an alternative one. It is much easier to navigate, I will say, but I do think they might take a little bit longer to print, so please keep that in mind. But my main reason for setting that up was because for the basic hoodie, at least, they go up to like 5XL rather than, I think it's just 3 or 2XL for Redbubble. So I just wanted to be a little bit more, I just wanted that option. That's our silly goofy of this semester, I guess. And the last bit to mention, I guess, is our usual stuff, which is that we're going to be doing a 24-hour readathon called All Nighter. You do not have to stay up. I actually prefer if people don't, but it's up to you. And it's just a 24-hour period where we kind of prioritize reading above anything else. Thinking that we're gonna do that between the 20th and the 21st. Of course, once the semester starts, the forms for logging your books will open up as well. I will link this down below, but currently we're not taking any submissions because you shouldn't be reading for it, so you know, very much like before. Transcripts will be updated hopefully in time for this, but if not, I've been working on it and it will be done. Lastly, I think it's just the socials and probably posting some stuff on Instagram page, which is book_roast. I think we're very much slowly moving away from Twitter/X. It was never my preferred platform. I still drop some links there, but it's primarily Discord, so if you want to talk to people, it's in there. If you're not too fussed, then Twitter will have, like, you know, whenever, if there's a video or a live stream, I will link it there as well. And I want to say that's maybe it. Well done to me for surviving this announcement recording. But I'm so excited to present all of these new additions to you. I hope that you will have a lot of fun and be a little bit more motivated to read and just be silly goofy with me, basically. Thank you so much for coming back or joining if you're new. I'm very, very happy to have you. And welcome back to Orilium. I will see you with this on the 1st of April. Bye!